So my name is Nicole Umberger, and some of you may know me on Facebook as Jennifer Umberger. That's where you can find me. I usually share a link tree in a few of the most recent videos that I've had, just to kind of put all of my socials out there so everyone knows how to reach out. So who am I? And how am I going to help you have a better life, or how am I going to help you maintain? I want to share with you a little bit about myself. First and foremost, I grew up as an ADD, ADHD kid. Okay? I was waking up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, going to the bathroom, pouring out shampoo into the bathtub and plugging up the bathtub and running water and leaving the door shut and just letting it go. And there's my mom waking up, they both my parents worked. They're waking up in the middle of the night like, oh my God, what is wrong with this kid, right? So that is how we figured I had ADD, but I also had ADHD. I had both. I really didn't know a whole lot about it as a kid. I was on 30 milligrams of Ritalin once in the morning, and then I took 2 10-milligram pills later in the afternoon, so I was on a lot. I feel like I was. I suffered side effects from that, growing up. I ended up becoming sexually promiscuous at a very young age. My innocence was taken against my will, and I will never change my mind about that. I believe when a girl says no, stop, don't. If a girl shows any doubt whatsoever that she is not for it, it don't need to happen. And if it does happen, that's what it is to me. I kept my undergarments on. I never took them off because I didn't want to do it. You understand? So that screwed with me. And for a long time, I thought sex was love. And so I started confusing the two. And I was a hoe. I was a slut. Like, I was sleeping with everyone. And like when I was in middle school, I was sleeping with high school students. When I was in high school, I was sleeping with college guys. You hear me? So, and no one ever really came to my face and said it to me. But I knew I was. And that was a defeating thought that I always had. I've never had an STD. I've never had an infection or anything like that. Never. Thank God. But that was really hard for me. And I struggled with pornography at a very young age. I struggled with that in a way that was very embarrassing for me. And I always wanted to have friends over or be at a friend's house, because if I wasn't alone, I wasn't tempted. And so I was always with my friends. That really helped me not give in to things like that. But anyway, later on, I started using. My parents got divorced. I had just had a child at a very young age. I had no self-control. Do you see? No self-control, none whatsoever. And that is what a lot of us lack. That's what led to my addiction, my lack of self-control. And I kept relapsing. I would use and I would lie and I would say, oh, I've been sober. Like when I was in the methadone clinic for a while. That works for some people. It worked for me for a time, but now I use Subutex, buprenorphine, and I'm on a low dose of that, 2 milligrams twice a day, so 4 milligrams at one time is all I take. And that's good, because I was on 4 times that amount. So that's good. I've tapered that far down on my own. But I would use methadone and I would double up on my doses and I would use other stuff. And I was not clean, but I was telling everybody I was. And then years later, I go to prison, I get out, I fell down my stairs. I was getting ready to go to work, and I came downstairs, and when I came down, they were wooden stairs, cedar. And they're like, the kind of stairs, if you're doing a front porch, you can kind of see through them. If you're standing up and you look down, you see through to the ground. They were like those kind of stairs in my mom's apartment. And it was a 2-story apartment. I fell down the stairs, and I scraped one rib and cracked two. And a cracked rib is almost worse than a broken rib. The pain is excruciating, and it lasts for months and months and months. The first thing they give me is Percocet 10. And I'm telling them that I'm a recovered addict, so please be mindful. They're like, well, we're just going to give you something to knock the pain out. You're going to have to figure that out on your own. But they gave me Percocet 10s, and I relapsed. I started using behind my husband's back. I was an influencer. I was lying to everyone. And, what a lot of people will do when they're in a relapse is they'll use God a lot. They'll talk about God all the time. And they'll talk about, his goodness and his mercy and how much they love him. And that's all fine and well. But God sees through the BS. We might play Ray Charles to it, but the Lord does not. But he doesn't judge. He doesn't say anything. Not he ain't judging yet. He's sitting there just waiting, for help to help you. Anyway, I could not gain self-control, and I got on Suboxone at that time, and over time I've lowered myself down to Subutex. I had a relapse on the Suboxone, and it was because I did not have the tools to maintenance myself. I didn't. I was going to the doctor, and he'd counsel me, but he didn't teach me anything. Meditation started really calling to me. Tarot cards, divinity tools really began intriguing me. And growing up, no church at all in the home, my mother said that all that stuff was the devil. So I never messed with it. She said that meditation and crystals was all for just a bunch of tree-hugging hippies, and I believed it. I really thought that was it. Excuse me one moment. I want some ginger ale. I am fighting a stomach bug right now. I was throwing up Thursday. Wednesday, I think. I don't know. It was Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know what today is. Isn't that bad? Yeah, it's Friday. So Wednesday, I guess it was Wednesday, I was throwing up. And then yesterday, I was still nauseous, and I'm still very nauseous today. So, anyhow, I had relapsed on methamphetamine with my husband. I found out he had relapsed, and we were just always into it. I wanted him to be sober, and I wasn't going to leave him, because when I was using, before I went to prison, I was using crack and heroin, and he got clean and tried to help sober me up. I didn't want to lose him. I loved him, and we ended up coming out to Arizona, where everything is just different. The perception is so much broader here. I mean, if you've ever been to Arizona, you would agree. It's just so wide and free. You feel like you can just, like the Dixie Chicks song, room big enough to make a big mistake. Room big enough to make a big mistake. That is exactly how I felt. And that is what led me to meditating and crystals. The first thing that really got me about meditation was I couldn't sit still. Now, 16 years old, I had a baby, so I quit taking Ritalin. I got the prescriptions, and I would give them to my boyfriend at the time, because he was a Chinese guy, and his Chinese family was doing midterms, and they would eat them up. If I wouldn't have gave them to him, they would have bought them from somebody on the street, and I just, I wasn't taking them anymore, so I gave them to him. And I know that was a bad thing to do, but I did that. And that's been over 20 years, over 20 years ago. But I didn't take them, and I'm going to tell you why. I didn't like the way it made me feel. I did not like the way that made me feel. They had came out with this new formula, and it was so you couldn't crush them, because people were crushing them and snorting them. When I got older and used drugs, I had snorted one of my Ritalin before. My mom started asking, some questions about my medication, and it made me wonder. So I decided to investigate, and I crushed up a pill and I snorted it. I was 14 years old, and I was up for 2 days off of one small line, like a quarter of a pill. So when I got older and I tried methamphetamine for the first time, exactly the same. Meth is a little bit stronger, but guaranteed it was very similar. And that's when I made it up in my mind. When I got sober this time, I started talking to a higher power. And this is the part that's going to either make you or break you. Because you either believe there is something bigger than yourself outside of yourself, or you don't. And if you don't, listen, that is all fine and good. But if you don't because you're like, I don't want somebody to, if it's because you feel like you're being controlled, you need to let go of that, okay? Because the only way to get control of your life is to let go. I promise you. My life is turning out exactly the way I wanted it to. No, I didn't want to be a junkie for 22 years. I didn't want to be incarcerated. But after, I had dreams and I had visions. And I'll never forget, my husband and I were arguing one night, and he was at work. He was working third shift, and this is when we were both in a bad way. We were almost going to divorce. He was using, he was lying, he was manipulating, he was being narcissistic. And I laid back in my bed and I listened to music like this, soft Lego frequencies, the 396 love frequency, or 528. I listened to all these. When I listened to it, I closed my eyes and I breathed in through my nose for 3 seconds and out through my mouth for 3 seconds, over and over, because I had saw it on a video about meditation, and that's how you do it. And I began visualizing, and it was nighttime. So in my vision, it was nighttime. And I visualized myself in a pool. And around this pool were beautiful gazebos and couches with like gazebos, like a rooftop. And there was a fireplace and a grill and beautiful palm trees. And the water was changing colors. And it was just beautiful. And I fell asleep visualizing that. A week later, I found out we were moving to Arizona. We were invited to move to Arizona by my husband's ex-wife and kids because the 2 older boys were getting a house and they wanted us to move in. And we did that. It ended up not working out because the 2 boys decided to quit working as soon as we moved in. They quit their jobs. We paid all the bills. And after we paid the bills, I got sober. I was sober for like 2 days, and I started meeting with some missionaries, and I won't get into that, but I kind of found my way. And later on, we got help from our church to move in an apartment because we were living in a hotel for a long time. And my husband finally started, he quit using. And they helped us get in an apartment, and my husband and I went swimming one night in the pool. And I was in the pool, and the lights in the pool were changing colors. They were like pink, purple, blue, green. They were just so pretty. And I looked up and I saw palm trees, and I just immediately started crying because I was like, oh my God, this is my vision. I am here. I I am here. And we were in such a good way. Like, my husband and I, when we moved out to Arizona, it was a make us or break us point. I begged him, like, please don't make me look stupid in front of your ex-wife, like, because she would love nothing more than to be able to split us up so she can have you back. Because that's what it was. She wanted it back. My husband was using meth. She literally tells my husband, I think your wife is using. Like, you had no idea how bad I wanted to just throw him under the bus and say, look, he's been using. Yeah, I've been using too, but I've just started. Like, but we quit when we moved out to Arizona. I said, we are not driving out there under the influence of anything. And we didn't. We kept that promise, but we moved in with the boys. His ex-wife, she would not give us the key so we could go make copies of the key. I was like, she is not on the lease. Why is she even here? Okay, it's our stuff. We're moving in. She wouldn't even let me move my own stuff in, you know? So it was a fight. And I felt like she was doing it on purpose. I felt like she knew the boys were going to put holes in the wall. I felt like she knew the boys were going to they stole pills from me. They stole like 22 of my prescription Buspro, all because they thought they were Xanax bars. Like, it was ridiculous. I have them on camera. I have one of his sons on camera kicking my 9-pound chihuahua. Like, it was pretty heinous living there. And I thought it was going to break us because, you know, his kids, he wouldn't believe the stories I was telling him. I said, well, he's only going to believe me if I have a video. So that's when I put cameras in the bedroom, because Doug would not believe me that his sons were mistreating me and stealing from me and all that. So they ended up going to their moms and they filed a false police report and had a protection order put in place saying that he violently put hands on him, which he didn't. It was a complete lie. They wrestled for fun at Copper Park on 4th of July, surrounded by hundreds of people and dozens of security guards. I have it on video. So that's what got us moved out of there. When we started down a journey of faith, they helped us get in our apartment. But that vision, I know now that manifestation is real and it works. Meditation can help you get there. Excuse me. So let's get on with it, shall we? I'm going to turn my ringer off because I want someone to call. So I am going to show you how to properly meditate. And I want you to understand. Excuse me, y'all. Okay. Here we go. Excuse me, I've not been feeling well at all. Now listen to me. It's not going to be easy the first time. And I prefer to be laying down. So I meditate when I am laying down at night in my bed. Okay? I'm so sorry. You need to start studying your chakra work. I am a certified Reiki master, and I am also a lady of the Holy Grail. A lady of the Holy Grail is like a Holy Grail knight. That means that I live the life according to the standards of the Melchizedek method, which is my next step in this process. And I can help guide you to this path. I utilize a website by a lovely woman that goes by the name of Sherry Andrea. And for $2, you can get your Reiki certification. But first you need knowledge on Reiki. So, what I want to help all of you learn is what it is you need to learn. The Melchizedek Olahara, heaven on earth. I want to teach you how to channel. I'm not talking about channeling spirits. need to channel energy. We're going to start with simple breath work. All right? It's going to be 3 seconds in through the nostrils, 3 seconds out through the mouth. 3 seconds in through the nostrils, 3 seconds out through the mouth. Ready? And we're doing 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And exercises, how do you feel? Did you know that we were breathing for almost 2 minutes? That's pretty amazing. Almost 3 actually. I would love it if we could commit to subscribing to my channel and turning on the notifications button so we can attend these sessions anytime I have them. And we'll try to do them every day. I would love to teach you the way of Reiki. I would love to teach you how a simple stone can actually assist you in getting your health back up to par. Even mental health. I sleep with an apatite stone on my crown chakra every night when I go to bed. Sometimes I have an amethyst laying on my third eye. I always lie. I have 2 angelite balls. I lay one here and I lay one here. I believe that many of you know that you were called to do something much more powerful than what you're doing now. I believe some of you have actually felt the jolt of light that comes through in service when you're serving others out of love and mercy and kindness. I live a life that meets the standards of those who pay hundreds of dollars to learn the Melchizedek method, the Melchizedek method. And I just started researching this. I want to teach the Melchizedek method, but first I need to be well educated in the area. So I am currently watching everything I can. I will be open with you. I am a member of the LDS Church. I am a 3-year convert. I don't try to pressure anyone into my beliefs, but there is a app called Gaia, and I don't know if any of you subscribe to that, but in that app, there are a lot of things that line up with the beliefs of my community. And it lines up with a lot of my personal beliefs that I've always had, but never really spoke out loud. If you can afford to get the Gaia app, I think it's like $100 for a year. If not, they have a wonderful 7 or 14-day trial period that you can use the app, and it's wonderful. I highly, highly recommend. Also, you can find some of the Gaia videos, or excuse me, some of the episodes off of Gaia on YouTube. And again, me mentioning that I am LDS, I'm not trying to scare anyone. And listen, if you've been hurt by the LDS Church, I want to say I am so sorry. You know, I was hurt by the Southern Baptist Church. All churches have evil in them because churches have people in them. And I'm not trying to justify the church, but I do want to say this. I've been to prison and I've met some pretty sick people. Okay? And the devil, the enemy, will use whatever he can to create his mischief. And the mischief that happens, it's inevitable. Okay? Even if religion wasn't around, all of this good, bad, up, down, negative, positive, pro, cons, we would still have this. We would still have it, okay? I honestly think that religion was created to guide us in a certain path to keep us from another path. So growing up as a child, I went to church one time and I loved it so much, but I didn't get to go back because I told the pastor my mom didn't come because she had a hangover. But I was only 8 and I didn't know that you weren't supposed to tell the pastor that your parents had a hangover. I mean, if my mom's saying, oh, I'm not going today, honey, I have a hangover. I'm 8 years old. Okay. Hey, where's your mom? Oh, she's got a hangover. I mean, how do I know? I don't know. Anyway, she was pretty mad at me about that. But I felt safe there, and there was something there. There was a spirit there, and I remembered it. And I have followed that spirit my whole life, and I found it in prison. And when I got out of prison, I couldn't find it anywhere. I went to every church that I could think of, and I couldn't find it. And then missionaries came to my door, and the person that was with them was a woman that I couldn't stop thinking about because I had seen her in a grocery store. I didn't know this woman. I just couldn't stop thinking about her. And now I know what it was. It was the higher power letting me know, you're going to see this woman again. I started learning, this is my intuition kicking in, letting me know things. So, you know, I follow that. And I have met people that have a testimony just like mine in the Islam religion. When you see these extremists that you know, like the woman who was killed for wearing her hijab wrong or not wearing it, those are extremists, because true Islam is love. True Islam does not care how you wear your hijab. True Islam is more concerned on the service and the community. Man has taken Islam and made it personable to him, so he can dictate murder and then feel justified and even gratified. I believe that everyone has the right to practice as they believe. If your beliefs take the life of another individual, then your beliefs are an issue. You know, we've come a long way, the church has. I mean, you should really investigate how there's more than 10 commandments. There's like 613, I think. But we don't have the whole Torah. We only have a part of it in the Old Testament. So while I am a member of the LDS Church, I read the Kabbalah. I study Kabbalah. I also study Quran, the Zohar, Sefer Yetzirah, the Torah, the Talmud. I read it all, especially the Torah and the Sefer Yetzirah, because those are collections that even Jesus would have read. And if I believe in Jesus, I need to be reading what he read. But they could not be seen by outsiders. If you were an outsider, you could not read the scriptures that they were reading. When Jesus was a child, he had to meet certain requirements by the age of 12. What were those requirements? Reading, writing, mathematics, and geometry. Sacred geometry. This is something that you will learn if you stick with me on this channel, and I pray that you do. I pray that you do. I'm going to teach you about the 15-dimensional life forces that surround you. See, this isn't the only world. We've been so manipulated and conditioned to believe something else. You don't even know where you are. Let me tell you. You're in a world that's within a world, that's within a world, that's within a world. And all of these are worlds within worlds, planes within planes, realms within realms. The higher realms are what we're trying to get to when we leave here. These realms are where your ancestors coexist with you. See, they are much closer than you thought. I want to help you. It is time for the warriors of God and the warriors of the Galactic Council to rise. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I mention the Galactic Council, I will put a link in the description, but there is a book called the Urantia book, and I would like for you to look into it. Urantia, the Urantia book. It's a wonderful, detailed masterpiece that was an international bestseller, and it was anonymously written by people that were trying to debunk a psychic medium. And they had debunked all these psychic mediums all over the country, but this one fellow, they could not debunk. And they all agreed to go on a special mission to get special details. And the things that are described in this book, I have often fantasized and dreamed about. When we leave here, we have so much more waiting for us. You have no idea. And if you start meditating and doing your breath work every single day, you will see exactly what I'm trying to show you. So remember, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, 3 seconds each. I know that it seems like this isn't really doing anything, but I promise you, if you do this breath work every single day, if you purposely go on YouTube and look up binaural beats with a black screen for sleep and let it play while you lay in bed on your smart TV or on your phone, keep your phone plugged up and let it play. I promise your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids, they'll fall right to sleep with it. But you use it to meditate. I promise you, the next morning when you wake up, you will feel different. You will feel heightened. You will feel enlightened. And it's because there is something inside of you that's trying to come alive and let you know it's there. What will this do for you? Well, I'll give you a quick little description. You know how you're impatient and you just lash out? You won't do that anymore. You will pause. You know how some people, they get really emotional and upset, or they eat a lot, or they smoke a lot of cigarettes, or they go straight for an alcohol bottle, or maybe even drugs. If you will ask God to help you remember that you have another option called meditation and breath work, you make it through this. So say it with me. I pray to the highest power that there is, that you please help me remember that I have the option to meditate and do breath work before I respond. If I think before I respond, I am showing compassion for my fellow brother and sister. Because if we just go forward and say what we want to say and we don't really think, we could say something very hurtful or very misleading or even untrue. The next step I want to teach you very quickly is called Own Your Truth. Now, there is a wonderful video right here on my channel, and it's called The Vow. It's got a purple title. You can go look for it in my playlist. But please look it up. It is how to speak your truth, live your truth, and attract your truth. Did you know that your words have so much power that they carry a frequency and a vibration when you send them out? And because of the karmic energy that we have surrounding the earth and cycling through at all times, it's going to come back to you. So that means you need to be very careful about the energy that you put out or the frequency you release. This is why we need to become high vibrational beings. Because when we become high vibrational, we operate high vibrationally. We see things high vibrationally. We can see more into the spiritual realm and behind the veil. We have a better idea of what is going on and what we need to do. So I hope that you take a look at that video. It's called The Vow. And I hope that you learn today that speaking your truth at all times is also the best policy. If you're someone who's struggling with addictions, this might be a very hard step for you. But if you can accomplish 1 week of not lying to anybody about anything, you can get sober and you can stay sober. Because when we make a promise like this, it carries a lot of power. Personally, I said a prayer. I pray that I will always speak nothing but the truth, so help me God. Let nothing untrue come out of my mouth. Let no unclean or untrue thought root in my mind. Help me to speak my truth only and live it. And I do. I don't lie. And I get very offended when people ask me to lie. I get very offended because I am a hit 'em with the truth kind of girl. And now that I've lived my life speaking truth and trying my best just to live it, I don't want to live any other way. And I want you to know that you can have everything you've ever wanted. After I started living this way for 1 year, I had a dream one night that I was coming down the stairs of this beautiful townhome, and I saw out the windows by the front door mounds and mounds of snow. 2 months later, my husband was called to go work in China Lake, California. I really didn't want him going. I really did not want him going. I silently prayed in my mind, please let him go somewhere like Salt Lake City so we can learn some history. 1 week later, my husband said, you got your wish. I'm going to Salt Lake City. I went to visit my husband in February, and it snowed 3 times the 3 weeks that I was there. I felt it in my spirit. Something is familiar about this. And I recalled the dream that I had had a few months prior. The dream didn't match up to my trip, but somehow I felt as though it was connected. And I got this omnipotent presence, and I felt like, we're going to move here. And a couple of days after that idea, my husband says, how would you feel about moving to Utah? I knew that that is where the Spirit was calling us to move to. So whenever we moved to Utah, I suddenly found out, I know what it is. We went to his cousin's house, and they have a beautiful 3-story townhome. I was coming down the stairs to go out the front door because her kitchen and living room is upstairs. And I had deja vu, only there was no snow on the ground. but everything else fit the picture. And I said, this is my dream. And I said, we're going to be over here when it's snowing sometime. I mean, these type of intuitive gifts, I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. Oh, these type of intuitive gifts are not to be ignored. And let me tell you one more thing and then I'm going to have to go. If you've been thinking about playing with tarot cards, go get some. Tarot cards are not evil. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you're someone who's telling people tarot cards are evil, shame on you. I am sick and tired of people, especially people who have skeletons in their own closet, saying that tarot cards are evil. There ain't nothing about tarot cards that are evil. Nothing is evil except whatever you put an intent behind. Because if we want to get technical, if you're someone with alcohol in your home, that's the devil, because it literally kills 30 people every single day. That's the statistics. That's the numbers. So stop telling people they're going to go to hell for playing with tarot cards. It's not Christian to tell anybody if they're going to hell. You are not supposed to make any final judgments about anybody. Only God's supposed to do that. I prayed and asked God to reveal to me that he didn't mind me playing with tarot cards. And I said, Lord, if you don't mind me playing with tarot cards, I want to get another deck of tarot cards. Confirm to me that you don't mind. This was a deck I wanted that was on Amazon. I had told no one. I had not even spoken it out loud yet. And you know what happened? The next day, my little friend girl came to the door with this deck, which is the deck that I put in my Amazon cart that I was going to get. She said, Spirit told me to go to Barnes & Nobles and get this for you. So listen to me. Couldn't nobody but God had done that, because I did not speak it out loud. The devil can't read your mind. Quit telling these folks that stuff. What it is you're scared. You're scared because if tarot cards do work and are real, that breaks down everything your little Southern Baptist self was taught all your life. And I'm going to tell you something else. While we're talking about truth, go look up the history of King James. He happens to be my 16th cousin. 14th or 16th. He's in my family. He's my 14th or 16th cousin. He's in my family tree. And he was a divinity worker. He did witchcraft. That's why he slew a whole village and called it a holy crusade. He wanted to kill the witnesses. I'm not saying the Bible's bad. I'm talking about the man that put it together, okay? And it wasn't just him to put it together. It was 8 different people that picked out what wanted to be said. There's no copies. There's no copies of them scriptures out of the New Testament that y'all read. There ain't no scripture. There ain't no translation laying around nowhere in Aramaic of that, okay? That right there was conjured up among them 8 people, okay? So quit telling people that tarot cards are bad. Because they're not. If you put a bad intention behind them, then they are bad. If you are using them because you think that you know better than God, then yeah, you need to quit using them. You know why I used them? Because people that's really going through a lot need insight. So I shuffle the cards and I pray a prayer. Heavenly Father, help us have an answer through this. Boom. And most of the time it's on point. I've never been wrong on a reading. Knock on wood. So please stop telling people that. I want to help y'all further yourselves. I want to help you learn more about yourselves. You need to start understanding that even people like Jesus understood the planets and how they work. This dates back to Judaic mysticism, and you all need to learn it and understand it so you can begin healing yourself and your friends and your family. So start this breath work, do this meditation every day. Use the binaural beats. Use them. And if you live in Myrtle Beach and you want to get some crystals, go to North Myrtle Beach to the Black Market Minerals. If you live in Tempe, Arizona, they have a Black Market Minerals at Arizona Mills Mall. I don't know if they have any more located anywhere else. You can look them up. But that's one place that I know for sure that sells good rocks. Another place you can go to is on Instagram, the Miners Rock Shop. They are a legit place in Arizona, and all of their rocks are mined. Like, they know all the people that mine them, and they're very inexpensive. I got a big old opal like that for $8, a real one, like a real Ethiopian opal. Lots of really good things there. So I'm gonna jump off here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited. I can't wait to tune in next time and teach you some more things. And I hope that you put this to work, because it will work for you. It works if you work it. See you. Bye.